You're standing in the middle of a job site, laser level in one hand, a stack of plans in the other, and the whole thing feels a little shaky because you're not sure if this kit will actually hold up when you need it most. You've probably spent a few minutes scrolling through endless listings, trying to avoid another costly mistake where a laser falls short, drifts, or just can't survive the rain. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's talk about why the Topcon SV1S PS.RBP.X single slope grade laser kit with the LS-80X receiver might be the answer to that uncertainty, and when it's better to keep looking. First off, the big question for anyone buying a grade laser is, will it stay accurate over the distance I need? The Topcon unit boasts a 2,625-foot range and a claim of 1/16 inch accuracy. In plain English, that means if you're laying a drainage slope that stretches half a mile, you can still trust the laser to stay within roughly 1/4 of an inch at any given point. For a contractor who has to keep a parking lot slope within a tight tolerance, that level of precision can be the difference between passing an inspection and having to regrade the whole thing. The included LS-80X receiver pairs directly with the emitter, so you can lock onto the beam from a distance without hunting around with a separate detector. In real-world terms, you set the laser up on a tripod, walk out to the far end of the site, snap the receiver onto a pole, and you're instantly reading the grade without having to climb a ladder or crawl under a trench. Now, let's be realistic about the environment you'll be using this in. Construction sites are messy. Dust, splashing water, even the occasional downpour. The kit's IP66 rating isn't just a marketing badge. It means the housing is sealed against dust ingress and can handle water jets from any direction. I've heard tradespeople talk about laser units that stopped working after a single rain shower, so having that level of protection adds a layer of confidence. If you're working on a road grading project where you're constantly moving from one side of the lane to the other, that dust resistance can keep the unit from getting clogged with gravel and fine particles, which would otherwise cause the beam to wobble or drop out. Versatility is another angle that often gets overlooked. The single slope name makes some people think it's only good for simple, one-direction grades, but the spec actually says it can be used for horizontal, sloping, and vertical jobs. That opens up a lot of practical scenarios. Imagine you're a landscape contractor installing a terraced garden. You can set the laser on a horizontal plane for the first terrace, then switch to a sloped mode for the next level, and finally use the same unit to align a retaining wall that runs vertically. The rotation speed range of 300,600 revolutions per minute lets you fine-tune how smooth the beam appears to the eye, which can be useful when you're working in bright sunlight and need the laser to stand out against the sky. Who should walk away with this kit? If you're a professional, whether you're a civil engineer, a paving contractor, a drainage specialist, or a heavy-duty landscaper who needs a reliable, long-range grade laser that can survive the elements, this is a solid match. The price point sits in the mid-range for Topcon products, so you're not paying for a bare-bones entry model, but you also aren't splurging on a top-tier system that adds Bluetooth connectivity, a built-in display, or a battery life monitor. For teams that already have a set of receivers or are comfortable carrying a separate detector, the LS-80X included is a practical add-on without overcomplicating the setup. On the flip side, if you're a DIY homeowner who only needs a laser for a weekend patio or a small fence line, you'll probably find the kit larger and pricier than necessary. The need for a separate receiver means an extra piece of equipment to lug around, and the long-range capability will never be fully utilized in a residential backyard. Likewise, if you're looking for a laser system that integrates directly with a tablet or offers real-time data logging, this Topcon model doesn't provide those digital extras. In those cases, a more compact rotary laser or a basic line laser might give you the same job done with less fuss. There are a couple of practical trade-offs to keep in mind. The unit's rotation speed is adjustable, but the step between 300 and 600 revolutions per minute is fairly wide. You can't fine-tune it in smaller increments. So if you're sensitive to flicker on a camera or need a very steady beam for a specific measurement technique, you'll have to work within those two settings. Also, because the system relies on a battery-powered emitter and a separate receiver, you'll need to manage two power sources. The specs don't list exact run times, so you'll want to check the battery life before a long day on site and